It is historic. Today is a great day. As you were just told, I didn't just run on Medicaid expansion. I did for more than 2 years, but for the last 3 years when I was in the legislature, each and every year I introduced a bill to force the Medicaid expansion because I thought it was the right thing to do. I campaigned on it. I made sure the people understood where I was on this particular issue, why I thought it was right for our state, why I thought it was right for our working poor, for our providers, and then the people of this state saw fit to elect me. And so I was sworn in on January the 11th, and on January the 12th, I signed the executive order to expand Medicaid. That's why we're here today. Now, in short, why did I do it? Because for years, our federal taxes were going to Washington. And then Washington was sending our money to 30 other states that had expanded their Medicaid program so that their working poor got coverage and got treatment, so that their providers, doctors, clinics, hospitals, and others got reimbursement while ours went without, and while their employers had a healthier, more productive workforce, and ours did not. Did not seem to make good sense to me. And so we decided to reverse course, and enrollment started on June the 1st. The coverage actually starts tomorrow. Dr. Gee is with me. She and I have been all over the state of Louisiana, and I believe, as if we didn't have enough other things to do over the last several weeks, but I believe this is our final stop on a statewide tour, going to all of the different major areas in the state of Louisiana in order to talk about Medicaid expansion. So tomorrow, what does this mean for the state of Louisiana? It means working poor people primarily. Because a lot of people don't understand this population we're talking about, this Medicaid expansion population. 70% of these people work full-time. They work in tourism, they work in retail, they work in restaurants, you name it, construction. They just don't make enough money to buy insurance. Their employers don't offer it, but they make too much to qualify for Medicaid today. And so they've been in this gap. And they have been penalized because the gap wasn't supposed to be there. It wouldn't have been there except for my predecessor decided to leave the gap in place. And so those are the folks that we are bringing under the umbrella starting tomorrow. And we actually have with us today Jacqueline Washington, who is a local resident, who is someone that's been caught in this gap through no fault of her own. And so Jacqueline is here, and just because we always talk about numbers, and I'm going to go through some numbers in just a minute, but we talk about things in the abstract, why it's good for Louisiana. Sometimes, and there, by the way, there are more people than just Jacqueline who are here today who are going to benefit from expansion by having coverage. But I want to single out Jacqueline and ask her to stand up so that everybody can take a look at one of the faces of Medicaid expansion and who's going to be benefited. All right. Jacqueline, thank you for being here with us today. I will tell you, I was at church a couple of weeks ago in my hometown of Amite, and at the end of Mass, a young lady walked up to me, and she had her 8-year-old son with her. She was about 30 years old. She has been working 3 jobs, none of which provided health insurance. She didn't have coverage, and she's been ill, and she's needed a surgery. She had no way to get that surgery. But on June 1st, when she enrolled, she was actually able to schedule a surgery for after tomorrow. And so 2 weeks ago, she had the peace of mind of knowing that treatment that she so desperately needed so that she could remain at work and take care of her son was going to be available to her. And I will never forget her coming up because she made me cry, and my wife cried because she was crying tears of joy about what this would mean to her. And that's what this is about. This isn't about me scoring some political victory. This isn't about expanding for the sake of expansion. This is about improving the lives of people in Louisiana. So I'm so proud of what we're doing. Now, how are we doing? Enrollment started June 1st. As of today, there are 232,000 people enrolled in Medicaid expansion. More than 16,000 of those are right here in the Caddo-Bossier region. Now, we think we're on the way to 375,000. If our modeling is right, we are well on the way in order to reach that goal. It is good not just for the individuals who are going to be receiving the coverage, but it's also good for our economy. It's also good for the fiscal situation in the state of Louisiana, which these state representatives here will tell you. We inherited, at the beginning of this term, the largest budget deficit in the history of our state at $2 billion. Through a special session, we had whittled that down to $600 million shortfall, but the only reason it was $600 million is the Medicaid expansion executive order has been determined will save us $184 million of state general fund in the first year alone. 184. So for those people out there who just choose to misrepresent the facts, I want the people in Louisiana, and particularly here in the Shreveport-Bossier area, to understand the Medicaid expansion will not cost the state of Louisiana money. It will save us $184 million of state general fund dollars in the first year alone.